I got a Patreon request from Justin to review the Disney comedy The Pacifier, which seems to exist in a long tradition of movies where often macho actors are required to take care of children and wacky shenanigans ensue. I guess the success of Kindergarten Cop is what led to this being the type of role that most tough guy actors end up doing at some point. Because after that film, there was also Mr. Nanny with Hulk Hogan, The Game Plan with Dwayne Johnson, Playing with Fire with John Cena, and My Spy with Dave Bautista. They especially seem to like casting wrestlers in these movies. I remember watching one as a child titled Twin Sitters. I know 99.9% of you have no idea what I'm talking about, but that was a real movie. So I guess it was inevitable that Vin Diesel would end up being in one of these with The Pacifier, which was actually a pretty sizable hit, although this is my first viewing. So what did I think of it? Personally, I found The Pacifier to be a complete dud, which I got extremely little enjoyment out of. I probably chortled once during the entire movie, as a lot of the jokes fell flat, and it does not help how one-dimensional the characters are. Vin Diesel's character Shane already starts barking orders at the children in his family and even breaking down doors, so I'm completely on their side in finding his actions uncalled for. We know they're going to eventually bond, but I do not think those scenes were earned at all, especially when they play the overly sappy music on top. There are also a lot of bizarre moments. You have scenes like one of the daughters in the family asking Shane about his breasts, and then she starts asking about her own breasts, and the whole thing just made me uncomfortable. Then there's the part where the school administrators think one of the boys is a neo-Nazi, right down to even holding a swastika they found in his locker. It's such an unexpected thing to have in a family film. Admittedly, nowadays, concerns about a teenager getting involved in extremist groups are legitimate, but in the context of this film, it's still a strange route to take, especially when the punchline is just, oh, he's in a production of The Sound of Music. Meanwhile, the family is a pet duck. And that's the joke. Do they do anything funny with the duck? Not really. It serves no purpose, although I found out why there's a duck in the movie, and I'll get to that later. One of the strangest characters comes from the vice principal, played by an over-the-top Brad Garrett. I've seen Garrett be funny in other things, but he overdoes his performance, and with the way he antagonizes the students, particularly this boy, I wondered how he has this job. He even instigates a wrestling match with Shane, which is held in the school gym, and the principal somehow decides to prove this. What universe is this? Speaking of the principal, the film tries to develop a relationship between her and Shane, but I do not think Lauren Graham and Vin Diesel had any chemistry at all. The one actor who brings some life to the script is Carol Kane as the family nanny, but then the movie immediately gets rid of her. A lot of the rest of the humor goes for obvious sitcom and family movie gags. Are we going to have a scene where Shane reacts in horror when changing a baby's diaper? You bet! The film also throws in some Home Alone-style slapstick gags, none of which are executed in a funny way. The movie does absolutely nothing interesting or innovative with this premise. I find Vin Diesel in general to be a very one-note actor, most required to act tough, and when he attempts to show his sensitive side here, it falters. I admit he was good in Saving Private Ryan, with Steven Spielberg knowing how to use his strengths. Plus, there are his voiceover roles as the Iron Giant and Groot, which make good use of his booming voice. But honestly, even the best actor would have struggled to make this material funny. The Pacifier was directed by Adam Shankman, whose filmography has primarily consisted of studio comedies like this one. He's basically a journeyman director, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. You need filmmakers like them to steer these kinds of projects to the finish line. His experience as a choreographer is why he also gets hired to direct musicals, with Hairspray as his most notable film, and honestly a film I really like. That movie seemed to allow Shankman to really show what he's capable of. A director is not going to traditionally get the same freedom on a routine family film like this. Now you could say, oh, maybe the writers are to blame, but not really. The script is credited to Thomas Lennon and Robert Ben Garand, and I found an interview with them where they explained the script they turned in was different than what made it on screen. This is not even the only Disney movie released that year where this happened, as they were also credited on Herbie Fully Loaded, and there's an entire chapter in that book, Writing Movies for Fun and Profit, where they talk about their experience on Herbie. Remember that duck I mentioned? That was their idea, but it was back when the movie was intended to star Jackie Chan, and the duck was going to belong to him. But then, after Vin Diesel came on board, later drafts kept the duck and shifted its ownership to the family, even though, again, them having a duck adds nothing. Funnily enough, Chan would later star in The Spy Next Door, which is in the same genre of movie. I guess Jackie Chan regretted not getting to star in The Pacifier. Overall, I found this a dire comedy, and one reason I have a hard time agreeing with people who think the quality of Disney films has gone down in the past few years, and they need to go back to the kinds of movies they used to make. Because littered among the classics Disney has produced, there are also movies like this. I really ripped into this movie, but maybe you disagree. If you've seen The Pacifier, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thanks for the request, Justin.